Zhuangzi's Fables and Their Wisdom, Module 1, Introduction. Lesson 4, The Language of Zhuangzi. Fable 1, Zhuangzi dreamed of being a butterfly. Hello everyone, welcome to Zhuangzi's Fables. I'm Miss Zhou. In this lesson, we will explore the features of Zhuangzi's language. Most of our students will find it boring to read the philosophical masterpieces of the Warring States period. But Zhuangzi is an exception. Reading Zhuangzi can be a very entertaining and engaging process even for Western readers. This is due to the fact that most of his texts are pithy, humorous, often exaggerated fables or anecdotes. As an artist-philosopher, his texts are not only accessible and amusing, but also thought-provoking. Many Western scholars compare him to Friedrich Nietzsche and ranked his works as one of the greatest literary and philosophical masterpieces that China has ever produced. But as the saying goes, reading is believing. It is always better to read his texts for oneself. So in this lesson, we will read 3 representative stories to show the charisma of Zhuangzi's texts. The first story we will read is Zhuangzi Dreamed of Being a Butterfly, which is one of his best-known fables.
I was sleeping. I dreamt I was a butterfly, flittering and fluttering through the field of flowers. Grass tips gently brushed my wings as I floated a lilting path on the breeze. Everything was ideal. The wind, the sun, the sky, and the field. I was perfectly happy with my butterfly existence and had no idea that I was actually a human named Zhuangzi. Suddenly I woke up and I found that here I am, unmistakably Zhuangzi again, still lying in bed. Now, I do not know whether I was then Zhuangzi, who dreamed he was a butterfly, or now I am a butterfly, dreaming I am a man named Zhuangzi.
Whatever Zhuangzi attempted to convey is not explicitly expressed. As a result, different interpretations were attempted by different scholars. One such interpretation is given by the late cosmologist Stephen Hawking.
How do we know if we are living in our dreams or reality? Well, we just don't, and perhaps can't. We must keep striving for an understanding of the fundamental questions of existence.
Even the late cosmologist Stephen Hawking also read Zhuangzi. You might ask, why is Zhuangzi so popular both at home and abroad? Through the story of Zhuangzi's butterfly dream, we can see that Zhuangzi offers no serious advice. Instead, he expresses his deep philosophical thinking through powerful images, through his romantic imagination and many intriguing stories. Fable 2, Zhuangzi Borrows Rice. The second fable we are going to read is Zhuangzi Borrows Rice. Zhuangzi's family was poor. One day they ran out of food, so Zhuangzi had to borrow some rice from the Marquis of Jianhe.
No problem. Just wait until I receive the tax from my men. Then I will lend you 300 pieces of gold. Is that okay?
On my way here yesterday, I heard a tiny cry for help. When I looked back, I saw in the carriage rut a small fish. I asked the fish, "What are you doing here in the rut?" The fish answered, "I used to live in the Eastern Sea, working as minister of the waves. I am so thirsty now. Can you please save me with a measure of water?" I said, "No problem. Just wait until I visit the kings of Wu and Yue and persuade them to redirect the water of Western River so that the water will flow into the rut, and you can swim back to the Eastern Sea through the Western River. Is that okay?"
I've had no water to swim in, and I've been struggling to keep myself alive. Just a little water right now can save me. But you are talking about going to Wu and Yu and redirect a river to save me? When you come back, you will only find me again in the dried fish market. According to the story, Zhuangzi was probably facing one of the darkest moments in his life. Down and out, having to seek help from a noble. When virtually being turned down by such fancy words, he was, of course, angry, but he did not lose his dignity. Instead of shouting or begging or preaching, he came up with a humorous story. In the story, he created a bizarre image, a small fish living in a carriage ride. The fish was struggling for its life just like Zhuangzi, and while Zhuangzi was speaking arrogantly and pretentiously like the noble, the fish was personified as Zhuangzi himself. The sarcastic effect reached the climax when the fish says that you will only find me again in the dried fish market. The story has a point. Bigger is not necessarily better. Timely help is most appreciated. If you were the Marquise of Jianhe in the story, would you still refuse to lend Zhuangzi some rice after hearing such a humorously profound story? Fable 3. Happy Fish. Our third story is called Happy Fish. One day, Zhuangzi and his friend Huizi were enjoying the beautiful scenery on a bridge over the river Hao. Far in the distance stood the foggy mountains. Below in the water swam some fish.
See how the fish are swimming in the river freely. This is what the fish enjoy doing.
You not being a fish, how can you possibly know what fish really enjoy?
But you, not being I, how can you know that I don't know what fish enjoy?
If I, not being you, cannot know what you know, does it not follow the very fact that you, not being a fish, cannot know what fish enjoy?
Let us go back to your first question. You asked me how I knew what the fish really enjoyed. The very fact you asked me this question shows that you knew I knew the fact was the fish were happy. As for how, of course, from my own feelings on this bridge.
This dialogue is known as one of a small number of intricate dialectal reasonings produced by ancient Chinese philosophers. Do you think it is a bit hard to follow? Who do you think wins the debate? In fact, some researchers believe Zhuangzi was not seriously participating in the debate. Some others believe that part of the dialogue was added by his students and followers. But what I want to stress here is that clear, analytical language of the story and also the way they argued, being a little queer but still very logical. Many sinologists recognize it as having a resemblance to Western philosophic reasoning and showed great interest in it. Also, there's a famous saying derived from this story. You, not being a fish, how can you possibly know what the fish really enjoy? By quoting this, we actually mean, you don't understand me, or don't take me wrong. Now, let me end this lesson by saying, I, not being you, still hope you have enjoyed the fables. Thank you for watching.